Barakate Hawa, Barakate Hawa Shai, Barakate Hawa, Barakate Hawa Shai, Kal Halalam La, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Citations to the Akimot, they're pushing this word in our sincerity and our truth. Peace and blessings to the rest of the elect. Shalom. You know, hey, this Esau is planning to become like God. This new system that's coming in, the mark of the beast infrastructure, the digital system that's being built is it's much more comprehensive, than a lot of people realize. This man is planning to change everything. You understand? And hopefully this lesson, is going to edify some more along that point. This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 1. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower and watch to see what he will say unto me when I shall answer, when I am reproved. So we're standing and we're seeing the system that this man is putting together. And it's a perfect trap. It's a perfect trap that you will not be able to survive in unless he gives you the permission to survive in that system. The Heavenly Father can't come soon enough, right? And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision, make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. At the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Now, I wanted to highlight a word here in this verse, right? The word pawak, which means to speak, and I wanted to go down to the Hebrew Chaldee lexicon, right? Specifically to Habakkuk chapter 3, 2 verse 3, where we're on. It says to pant or to hasten. And it brings me back to the quote by Vladimir Lenin, which pretty much says that there are decades where nothing happens, and then there are weeks where decades happen. So right now, there's a huge acceleration going on. And it's going on seemingly behind the scenes. Like, a lot of people are not even conscious of the changes that are taking place right now. Some seriously fundamental changes to the way we do business and to the way we interact with the world, right? So it says to pant or to hasten. Now, one of the big things that's going on right now that's not really being covered in the mainstream news is tokenization, particularly tokenization of two things: tokenization of the stock market and tokenization of natural assets, and how that is linked to digital identity and CBDCs. Right now, there's a big push for digital IDs. We're seeing that on the news. And we know that there's already been a big push for CBDCs. But now the next big thing, which shows you how comprehensive this net that this man is building, how comprehensive and far-reaching this net is going to be. So I said here, so I've been talking, with this chat AI and reading up on some articles that it posted as links. And I said, summarize the key points of tokenization of the stock market and natural asset and how this links to digital identity and CBDCs. It says, to understand where the global shift towards digitalization is heading, look at how the tokenization of stock markets and natural assets merge with central bank digital currencies and digital ID networks. The combination is forming what the Bank of International Settlements calls a unified ledger, right? A shared digital space where ownership of assets, digital identity, and legal currencies exist on the same infrastructure. And this is what we've been saying for years. This is the mark of the beast infrastructure that's being built. And all that information is going to be stored on your chip. Your chip, your RFID microchip, is going to be your access into this digital infrastructure, right? It's going to store your digital ID, your legal currency, which is going to be your CBDC, right? And it's going to allow you to interact with the digital economy, right? So let's go with a quick summary. I asked you to give me a quick summary. So let's go with the stock market, which they call TradFi or traditional finance. public equities and fractioned shares, right? Key benefits, automatic or atomic settlement, right? So it replaces what they call the T+2 window, right? Which means when a stock is traded, right, bought and sold, there are intermediaries like clearing houses and different organizations that make sure that what you call it now, that verify the trade, you know, and then it goes through. It takes probably a couple of days, especially if you're trading between countries, right? That now is gonna be gone. So those people who do that job, they're no longer gonna have a job. It's gonna be instant, continuous, 24/7, 365 trading. So it removes settlement risk and frees up locked collateral. So if you have $1 billion trade sitting in clearing houses, waiting to be cleared, that's no longer gonna exist. You're not going to have to wait until the stock market opens to make a trade. If you make a trade late Friday evening, you're not going to have to wait until Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of the next week for it to finally clear. Instantaneous, right? Permissioned blockchains and smart contracts, right? That's what's gonna push. And then we get to the real wickedness, natural assets or real world assets. Ecosystem services like water rights, which we already see companies like Nestle and Coca-Cola monopolizing, right? Carbon sinks, managed forestry. So it says prices, the preservation of a resource rather than its destruction automates ESG capital flows. And here's the big thing. Decentralized physical infrastructure networks via Internet of Things meters, AI, and satellites. This man is planning to put sensors, digital sensors in water supply, in the soil, in the forest. You connect these things to AI systems, use satellites and all these things to measure, right? They measure certain things about the natural world, you know, like water flow, the amount of oxygen in the water, right? The amount of nutrients in the soil, right? The density population of the forest, so many different things, and tokenize all of that and feed that real world into tokenized assets. That's what's going. This man is planning to digitize everything. So when we say, "Oh, a digital economy is coming," and people say, "Yeah, a long time I use online banking transfer, and I've been using my credit and debit card." This is totally different, right? This man is planning to bring the entire world into the digital world. He's planning to merge the physical world with the digital, and everything is going to be brought on to the blockchain, to one unified ledger, right? The missing links. Tokenization creates programmable assets, but those assets cannot move securely or settle financially on their own. They require verified identity to establish legal ownership and risk-free digital cash, right, to complete the transaction. That's where your digital ID comes in and your CBDC comes in, right? So the digital ID, verified and cleared user, asset token, stocks, forest canopy, water volume, wholesale CBDC, instant settlement finality, right? So it says digital identity, the gatekeeper of compliance. In legal finance, identity checks, which is KYC, or anti-money, know your customer, anti-money laundering, are processed manually by intermediate brokers after a trade is initiated. So all them people gonna lose their jobs. In a natively digital market, identity is integrated directly into the infrastructure. So they are embedded guardrails. A tokenized asset will refuse to transfer to a digital wallet unless that wallet bears a cryptographically signed credential proving the owner's identity, right? Sovereign enforcement over natural resources. Digital IDs prevent foreign entities from predatory hoarding of localized natural assets like region-specific water rights. Governments can hard-code restrictions directly into asset ledgers, verifying that local water remains under domestic control via decentralized identity checks. And we know that that's not gonna happen, right? Money is going to be the order of the day, right? CBDC's settlement anchor. While stablecoins handle high-velocity retail trading, major institutions require the safety of a central bank money to settle high-value transactions. So this is where the CBDCs are coming in. The takeaway: tokenization, Digital ID and CBDCs are not separate trends. They are three pillars of a single architecture. Tokenization provides the assets, digital ID provides the trust, and CBDCs provide the finality. Together, they transition the global economy into a highly liquid, fully automated ecosystem, right, operating continuously in real time. So let's ask, right, how can this be linked to the prophecy of, let's see what it says in Revelation chapter 13, verse 16, right? The structural convergence of digital assets, CBDCs, and global digital identity networks has drawn significant attention from theological scholars, eschatologists, which are end-time, religious studies, and observers who analyze modern technological trends through the lens of biblical prophecy, right? So this is what it's, and so many people are seeing it now. You camps that don't teach that the RFID microchip is the mark of the beast. He caused it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name, right? The most direct parallel drawn by scholars is the prophecy's explicit condition, the absolute ability to prevent an individual from buying or selling. Right? In the tokenized reality, as discussed, a unified ledger operating with CBDCs and digital ID relies on programmable compliance. If an identity credential is suspended, revoked, or fails to meet specific parameters within a smart contract, the underlying network automatically blocks any transfer of funds, stocks, or basic resources like water. Right? The integration of identity with the body. Prophecy explicitly states that the mark is placed on or in the right hand or forehead, physically linking the human identity to the economic utility, biometric and hardware conversions. While early digital IDs rely on smartphone or plastic cards, the technological trajectory is pointing towards biometric authentication, facial geometry, iris scans, palm vein mapping, and what? Implantable subdermal chips like the RFID or NFC tech used to access control and payments. Right? Come on, man. Right? Total centralization of wealth and resources. The introduction of natural asset tokenization, turning water, land, and air into digital token, adds a newer dimension to this analysis, right? Revelation describes a system where global governance structure exercise absolute authority over all peoples, nations, tongues, by tokenizing the very elements required for survival, such as water rights and agricultural forestry, and placing them on a global, permissioned digital ledger. The physical resources of the planet become fundamentally centralized. If access to water or food distribution is tied to a smart contract that requires a verified, compliant digital identity to execute, the barrier to enforcing total economic compliance drops significantly, right? Imagine, this man is planning to become God, right? 2 Thessalonians 2 and verse 3. Let no man deceive you, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he, as God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. This man wants to connect everything to the digital blockchain and be able to track everything, adding smart sensors, to everything, even in nature, and be able to track all of that with AI and satellites, right? To link up everything to the digital blockchain. This man wants to know everything and tokenize everything and financialize everything. What's coming is it's not normal. But we know ultimately the Lord is going to disappoint him. Ultimately that's what's going to happen. The Lord is not going to allow him to come to fruition. Job 5 verse 12, he disappointed the devices of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the forward is carried headlong. Right? So, hey, Kalalal Yahweh Hashem Yahushai for giving us this knowledge, letting us see these things. Right? And Kalalal Yahweh Hashem Yahushai for the prophecies that are gonna that state that this man is going to be disappointed, yo. Because trust me, the system that's coming, total lockdown. Total lockdown. Till next time, shalom.